Well, that was awful. Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. Should have been Wolves 1, Bournemouth 1 with a disallowed goal, which just VAR nonsense. Quite how someone gets brushed in the face with an arm, doesn't even go down, and that's deemed a clear and obvious error by the referee. Especially when the linesman stood you 2 yards away, I'll never know. But that's Premier League referees for you, just generally useless. Atwell overall, completely shocking today. They're number 10, don't know how he didn't get booked. Foul after foul after foul, little niggly stuff, dived in the box. Yeah, just absolute nonsense. But doesn't take away from the fact that we were equally as bad, to be honest, as bad as Atwell's performance was. Wolves' performance was as well, really. No player in that first half other than Jose Sarr I thought was excellent again today, making save after save. They could have had 4 or 5 first half, let's be honest. Just completely outplayed us. We barely touched the ball, first half in particular. And that was the same in the second half, really, up until we scored the ultimately disallowed goal that should have been given. We just didn't look up for it. Just no fight, no passion. Yeah, we've had some injuries recently, but the 11 that are out there today should have been more than good enough to give Bournemouth a proper game, and we just didn't. Stood off them, let them play, and really summed up by when our centre-backs got the ball, they were on us, pressing us. We couldn't find a way out, couldn't beat the press, didn't beat the press all night. When Bournemouth centre-half got the ball, he ran from the edge of his own box to the centre of the pitch, completely unchallenged, no pressure on the ball, and that was really the story of the whole evening, really. We just let them have it, watched them knock it around. Every time we got it, it was backwards, which I don't blame the player on the ball necessarily. He hasn't got any option in front of him. But I'd love to sit Gary O'Neill down and say, what is the actual game plan here to try and score a goal? Because if there is one, I can't see it. I really don't get what he's trying to do. Really don't understand what the game plan is. And unfortunately, the season's just completely petered out, which we knew already, but they've got to be up for it. It's got to be a bit more fight. You know, fans have come out on a Wednesday night to come watch and support their team, and there's nothing to support, let's be honest. You know, first half in particular, just nothing, absolutely nothing going forward. Wang was awful, absolutely terrible. Everything bounced off him. Took his goal really well, actually. Should I say got disallowed, but actually really good header. But just nothing. Sarabia similar, had an awful evening, and there wasn't really many outfield players that came out with any real credit whatsoever for their goal. Kilman decided to cushion it straight into the Bournemouth players' path, who's buried it, as you would expect from that far out. But yeah, overall, I mean, all the talk would be about the refereeing decisions, but doesn't excuse our performance. Absolutely terrible.
So it's finished. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Bournemouth 1. Deflating night at Molineux. It's really tough to start doing these fan reacts now, I think, in these videos. There's not a lot to say. The same sort of things are happening again and again in terms of you thinking, well, it's VAR, it's performances. But I'm going to try and sum up really quickly because I'm going to be honest, I really cannot be bothered to do this video. But that's the point of the season right now. So, tactics, he got on the wrong start with. Gary, I think Mario Lemina was far too deep. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to play Totti Gomez at sort of left back, move the centre halves in a little bit, and then anything when he was out of possession, Lemina drops into the centre back position, which I could see why he was doing that against some certain teams in the counter attack, but it didn't really work because I know he didn't get further enough forward and get himself in the game. So that didn't work to start with. Then he had Tommy Doyle as the first midfielder forward out of the 3, out of Lemina, Gomez, and Doyle. That didn't work because Tommy Doyle was having to do a job he can't do. He's 5'7", he's got no pace, he's got no strength. While we're having to knock balls into challenge him to chase and try and hold balls up, it's not his game. He can't do that. Get him deep on the ball, playing his passes. That's his game. It's not difficult to see that. If you're going to do that, you play Tommy Doyle deep and you play Lemina running forward if you're going to play those positions. But that wasn't working for me. And then I thought Sarabia was really poor. Sarabia, for me, if you went now in the summer, for £5 million, got your money back for him, I'd be like, shake your hand, you can have him. Because he's doing not enough for me. He's gesturing, he's posturing to the fan, he's doing this, he's trying to rally the team up as if he's doing all the stuff. But he backs every 50-50 challenge he backs out of. And that winds me so much. If you ever played the game of football and someone backs out of a 50-50 challenge in your team, it's so frustrating. You would be so, other teammates would be fuming with him half the time. I don't care what he's doing on set pieces. He's not offering enough in the game in general. His overall gameplay is not enough for me. So if he went in the summer, I would not be bothered at all. Key for one opponents for me in the first half, one positive in the first half, was Swang's movement running behind. We missed that. I missed the running behind, balls in, his movement, the little bits of intricate play. He started off quite strong in the first half. And you can see what we're missing the previous weeks. Second half, mixed up a little bit, and he changed formation, but obviously brought Doherty on. But the key thing for me was move Mayo Mina further forward. Mina come further forward. Tommy Hall dropped back a little bit. And then key thing as well, Boubacar Traoré came on. I said on the weekend on here that he should be starting the game. And he made such a big difference. He won the ball back. He's raw. He touches off sometimes. He passes off a little bit times, but he made a bit of an impact. I mean, Traoré, when he came on, his passes were he can kill a play. He can kill a teammate with a pass. He leaves his passes just a little bit too short. And he did it about 2 or 3 times. He ended up getting a Bournemouth player sent off with his pass for Doherty. He killed him with a really short pass, but he looked more impacted the game more than Sarabia did. So I'd probably start him on the weekend. And I think we scored a perfectly good goal. I've seen him back now. I've seen the goal. I've seen the Cooney involvement with off the play. He runs to the back. There's very little involvement. It's not even involved in the actual sequence of play, and it's been ruled out. It's ruled out as a foul in the build-up. And I didn't even celebrate the goal anyway. The worst thing about this whole situation is that I'm not celebrating goals, and that's killing it for me. I'm not. It's been not just this one. It's been a few games. The West Ham one a few weeks ago. I'm not celebrating any goals now, really. I'm starting to question why I even come to football anymore. It's just so much like that now, and it's just killing it for me. So I'm gonna have a look at it. Hopefully, something's gonna change. Every Wolves fan will be feeling the same thing, and when you tell other you got friends and family at other clubs, and you go, it's always us, and they go, oh, you're being biased. It's your own team. It's always us, but it generally is always us. It's always us, and it's not even like just being one-eyed views must. So, but I'm sick of talking about VAR. If we could get rid of it now, I would do. Whatever happens to the rest of the season, I've just paid £62 for Man City tickets for the away game. And I'm thinking, why have I even done that? Like, why am I even going to Man City for 2 tickets, £60? I'm thinking, why have I done that? I've suck of a punishment clearly. I just really want the season to end, to be honest. Hopefully, it doesn't end up on too much of a damp squib like the way Large's season went, where he lost a lot of games towards the end. It carried on to next season. If that happens to Gary O'Neill, I'm worried how the next season might start, to be honest. So we need to try and turn this around very quickly on Saturday against Luton, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Now, I've not had many moans this season, and I'm a good one for moaning and losing my head. I've lost my head tonight at the game, and I think it's warranted, actually, because that performance is absolutely unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, but the referee this, the referee that, VAR this, VAR that. Fuck that off. Those players tonight were embarrassing. Hwang was absolutely awful, and I love him, but he couldn't hold a fucking lollipop stick tonight. He was that bad. And the players around him, Sarabia losing the ball every fucking touch. Shocking. And the formation, I just didn't have a clue where anybody was playing. Tommy Doyle was up front, and Nuri was playing centre mid, and Lamine is dropping in at centre. I had no clue what was going on. The midfield three in the first half were all over the shop. Absolutely all over the shop. And Bournemouth were running rings around us. Their press was better. They wanted it more than us. That performance it's absolutely on the beach. And that pisses me off. There is still, 4 or 5 games left of the season? And we're on the beach. People are paying close to nearly £100 for a set of tickets. And we're putting in performances like that. And the fans are supposed to, you see all the players getting the fans up and telling them to come on. Us come on, you fucking coming on the pitch. It's not playing well. I'm sick to death of it now. All these fucking players getting, the fans telling them to come on, get behind us and all this, when the players aren't getting behind us. And that's what's annoying. I'm all for losing a game of football to a good team, and I thought Bournemouth were good tonight. I thought they were miles better than us. They were quicker. They wanted it more. They were aggressive in attack. They had chance after chance after chance. Saul was brilliant. I'll give him his due. But everybody else was horrendous. It wasn't until we brought on Traoré and Chirwa in the second half that we looked any bit threatening going forward. And yeah, we've had a chance, and the ball's gone in. No fucker in the whole of Wolverhampton and across the surrounding areas has thrown their hands up saying that's a foul. Nobody. But for some reason the rest. Well, looking back at it, I can see why the referee has given it. Because Cunha throws his arm and he looks at him. It's so soft when you look at some of the other decisions that have not gone our way for being goals and stuff like that. But the referee was so bad. So bad. One of the worst I've seen. And I can see why everybody hates him and nobody thinks he's a good referee. But I cannot get past that performance tonight. It's unacceptable. And, you know, we pay our money every week. And yes, the season's finished. But most people go to work and look forward going to the football. And you want to be entertained. And you want to have something to shout about. You want to have something to talk about the next day. And now I've got to go in and talk about that dross. Nah. It's shit. It's the same thing as when we got safe last season. The lads just fucking stopped. And thought, I don't want to get injured. Don't want to be hurting on my holidays. Fuck that. We're still paying money to come and see you. So start playing better. Moving on to Luton on Saturday. Huge game. It's a must-win. I know it's not must-win in terms of Premier League and where we're going to be in the table and getting this and this and this. We haven't won in 6 games. I want to win a game of football. And that one now is a must-win for me. For me as a fan. I want to win that game so badly. So we have to turn up next Saturday or this Saturday coming. It's not good enough.
Well, another game week, another disappointing performance, another horrendous referee and VAR performance. I'll get into it all. I guess the main kind of sentiment of this video is how much I'm caring less and less about the game. There were periods, you know, under Nuno and even the League One days, I was obsessed with the game of football, that is. I was obsessed with the club. You know, I'd be counting down the days before the next match week, no matter how shit we were, no matter how good we were, I was excited to go. I didn't realise we were playing tonight until this morning, when my dad reminded me, you know, asking me, you know, what my plans were regarding travel. Didn't even know there was a game. That's how disconnected I am from the game at the moment. And the reason for that has to be, what do you put it down to? Do you put it down to the owners not investing in the club enough for me to give a shit about it? Do you put it down to referees taking all the fun out of football? I don't blame them. They're doing a job. But it was I blame the people who enforced it. I blame the people that brought VAR into it. It wasn't needed. The game was absolutely fine as it was. Absolutely fine as it was. And it's just been ruined to a point where I'm considering every single game week whether to bother travelling up, you know? And I'm only a home season ticket holder. I don't do the away games. So fair play to the people that do the miles that they do, pay the money that they do to watch this club away. I mean, I love this club, but it's killing me to watch, you know, goals like today's disallowed. Horrendous decision. I won't talk about it. You've seen it, you know, just horrendous. But now that is out the way, despite my love for the club, that was an awful performance. It was, just bereft of confidence, bereft of quality. Like, it was horrendous. From minute 1 to minute 100, it just wasn't good enough. The first half was as bad as I've ever seen us. And the second half was dry, drab. You know, there was a slight pickup in the first 10 minutes of the second half, assuming, you know, Gary O'Neill sent a rocket up their arse. But it was still by no means the Wolves that we've seen in the earlier parts of this season. It was 2 mid-table teams battling it out. But, you know, it was just mid-table mediocrity. If you could put it in a game, that was it. Just awful. Just awful. I don't think Bournemouth were any good either. I thought they were running the ball out of play, passing the ball out of play. We couldn't find a man in a gold shirt to save our lives. It was just an awful, awful game of football to watch, hampered at the end by a horrendous decision. And the Kilman one, I could see that was offside from the top of the North Bank. And yet it took another 2 minutes on top of there just to find out that his heel was offside. You're just wasting our time. I knew it was offside. I didn't care at that point. I was on my way down. Just forget it, man. Just shit. Absolute shit. But, I'm too scared to let go because I don't want to be put on a waiting list again. So I'll pay the 700 quid or however much it gets hiked up by Fosun. I'll pay it because I don't want to lose it. So that's where we are. Sorry it's a bit longer from me, but I just had to get that off my chest. I'll see you next time, Wolves fans.
Such a frustrating performance. Very leggy. You could tell that the players that were playing had niggles or were returning from injury. Our squad is just far too small, and we're really, really struggling, as we all know. And not a good start first half at all. I think Sarabi was miles off it. His first touches were appalling. Doyle, worst game he's had in a Wolves shirt. He was absolutely just not with it today. And again, we're just struggling fitness-wise, and I think that really showed today. Lamina and Gomez were fine, but not up to their usual standards, as expected, given the situation we're in. Semedo was way off it. Kluivert was running at him all day long and he didn't know what to do. He was in no man's land defensively all game. And I think, first half we just had no attacking threat. I think Aït-Nouri at times had a couple of nice little runs that really kind of got us going. And other than that, I think what we can take from that first half positives were we're shooting outside the box, which is one thing we can take from that game. I think Gary had clearly told me to shoot outside the box, which I think is a good thing, regardless of whether it's going on target or not. Either we get a goal from it, which is very rare for us, but it could happen. It hits a defender, goes off for a corner, or the goalkeeper makes a save, and again, we get possession back through either a corner or it being parried out. Okay, so I think that's certainly something we need to improve upon. For next season. It doesn't matter who's shooting as long as it's not centre backs. I think we're in a good position having a go from outside the box, so you never know where that ball's going to go. And I think it was really clear today that Gary has told them to do that. With the lack of attacking options, we haven't got much else going for us going forward, especially with the lack of legs in Hwang today. And Cunha, I think, was miles off it when it came on. His first touches were appalling. I think he really struggled, but again, he's coming back to fitness. Second half got better. I think Cherewa and Boubacar coming on was a massive impact. Brought loads of energy to the game. I thought Cherewa was excellent. Probably the best performance from a youngster in a Wolves shirt this season. I think he held the ball up really, really well. He drew in the Bournemouth players and won fouls for us that were able to just get us up the park, which is what we needed at that point in time because we were really on the back foot. I think those two made the difference. I think Doc had some nice moments going forward, provided a bit of solidarity at the back. I think moving towards that back five did help because Bournemouth all throughout the game were brilliant at countering and driving through our players. It was just they were just gliding. Christie, Kluivert particularly, just absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, we started pushing the last 20 minutes, which was a little bit too late. Bit frustrating when the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes of the game, we're trying to just hoof balls up into the middle of the box and get players up when we've still got a lot of time. We could really build some attacks. I think Boubacar really helped kind of disrupt play. He used his strength to hold onto the ball and drive us up the pitch, which really, really helped. A few attempts from him on the long shots and put a nice little floating ball in on occasion. But a leggy performance, and I think one that needed to be expected. I think we played really well against Arsenal, but didn't show us our tiredness. I think it was bound to happen at some point, and that leggy performance kind of showed. I think definite red card, 100%. No control, came flying in, studs up. Yeah, absolutely right decision from the ref. Max Gilman was offside, and in all honesty, we didn't deserve to win today. So yeah, hopefully a better performance next game.